What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to a Warframe video. Today, we're going over why I think the Angels of Zariman update will be the best Warframe update ever. Yes, I actually think it might potentially be the best update that the game has ever seen. I'll go over my viewpoints on that and why, it might be worth potentially coming back for this update, at least for a couple days. Before we get into it, make sure you're sub to the channel and all that. Make sure to the live stream channel as well, because we live stream when we can. I will be getting a VPN very soon to try and see if that helps with the throttling. It's quite annoying, trust me. All right, so the purpose of this is we're going to just talk about some of the biggest features coming with Angels of Zariman on the 27th of this month. In order of importance to me, at least. Some people might, of course, your list could vary. Maybe you think that these are actually the top 5 reasons the update will be the worst thing ever. But we might potentially have a cynical, slightly sarcastic video about that list coming out in the future, too. But for the time being, let's just go with this in order of, importance. And we're going to start with what I consider the least important. But, if you are a big fashion frame person, this could definitely be number 1 for you. That's going to be these new types of skins called the Void Shell skins. And what this is going to be is it's basically different texture body stuff for your frame. Now, these will be both purchasable and earnable in-game. So some of these textures will come, from maybe you kill an Eidolon and then he drops this. It's the Eidolon look for the skin. You destroy one of the new Eximus Reaper Ghost things. That gives you a different texture for the skin. Now, these will not be out for every frame. I think they said Saren, Volt, Rhino, and the operator itself will have these skins available at launch. It's kind of like a really good thing and a really bad thing. It's like, okay, well, there's like 40 plus Warframes in the game. Like, what year is Zaku going to get this skin? What year is Sevagoth going to get this skin? What year is Hydroid going to get this type of skin? When they pick Rhino, Saren, and Hydroid, or not Hydroid, they didn't pick Hydroid for a reason. They picked Volt because he's popular and a starter frame. So that's making me think that maybe it's a good thing and a bad thing, because now we'll be all excited about this. Like, oh, I can change attack. I want to make this not look metallic anymore. But I can't do that because this frame does not have this specific skin. They will not be available for everyone at launch. So that's number 5. It's also cool that they will potentially drop in game. If you see some guy with the Eidolon look for his Void Shell skin, you're like, wow, that guy did an Eidolon fight on the Steel Path and he earned that. So that looks pretty cool. Good job to that guy. That's the type of thing that I like. Also, the meme that all the stuff in this game is just skin updates. Hey, at least you can have the skins drop in game now. That's how I look at it. So pretty cool there. We'll see how extensive it is. It seems somewhat extensive. Now we're going to move on to another one. Number 4, which I consider more important than skins because these actually will affect gameplay. And that's going to be evolving weapons. And I'm not sure. I think it's Thorax is the proper name that they gave to these. But these are going to be, there's going to be a melee, a secondary, and a primary. And the way this is going to work is it's going to be similar to a Nightwave challenge, but also a Riven mod. So as you can see right here, kill enemies to unlock the Incarnon form, something along the lines of that. So you will be able to choose upgrades. So the way it's looking to me, look at this thing, a 65% crit chance at base. I'm guessing that if you, let's say I went with the left side upgrade, that would give me increased fire rate, like we just saw her hover over there. Oh, that's actually exactly what we were looking for here. So accuracy. Okay, so plus 50% accuracy while aiming. So it looks like you'll choose stuff like this. She has 3 different options here, it seems. And then, okay, so that one's more accuracy focused. This one looks like it's more fire rate focused, where there's a bullet in there with 3 bullets. And then this one might be projectile flight speed. So maybe not super OP, but customizable for sure beyond just mods. There we go. So projectile flight speed, I'm really good at predicting this stuff. It is projectile flight speed is one of the options on this thing. And it has pretty good base stats. So, it's like Evo Weapons, Rivens, and things like that all mixed together. We'll see how customizable they are. I mean, those are pretty good base stats right there. So I could definitely see these potentially being very powerful weapons in the future. And I bet Rivens will just break them wide open. So they'll definitely be 0.5 dispo for their entire duration of their life. So, yeah, pretty cool, though. We'll see how good the Tonfas are. There's some pretty stiff competition with the Cronin Prime and the Oma and all that stuff. So, yeah, that is number 4. We'll see, because there's potential they won't be very good, or the buffs we can choose from are underwhelming, minus accuracy. It's not going to increase your damage, but maybe it will be really good for quality of life, because Maybe you want to go for headshots for some reason. All right, moving on to the next one, number 3. Now, we're getting to the stuff that I actually consider super important and why this update will be potentially the best update ever. Now, when we look at good updates I consider good in this game, the main crux of those updates that are viewed good by me is that the game feels very different from before the update. So the reason I consider the New War a bad update, the update we got before this, was that after you beat the New War quest, it didn't feel like anything in the world actually changed. You can kind of view the Angels of Zariman update of the second half of the New War. Like the stuff that should have been there after you beat the New War quest. That's pretty much what this is. So the next one, number 3, is going to be the new pseudo open world kind of situation we got going here. So if you've been someone that's been paying attention to the game for a while, you've probably seen that we have open worlds like Plains of Eidolon, Deimos, Fortuna, and like they have a lot of stuff going on there. But once you're like done like doing the open world stuff, you don't really go out exploring. There's not like some secret cave in Fortuna where there's like a gigantic Corpus ship that you can like drive around and blow up like arachnoids. No, there's nothing like that. It's pretty much one and done content for the most part, unless you want to start grinding plat. So what this new, I call it pseudo open world is it's pretty much a new tile set mixed with like a hub city. So think of Plains of Eidolon, but only Cetus, and instead of the actual open world part of the plains, it's a new tile set. So let's just say the Kuva Fortress would just attach to the Cetus city, and you could walk from the city directly into the Kuva Fortress and do your missions, and then walk out of the Kuva Fortress back into the city. So that's what we're getting here pretty much. There's also player housing, which I'm not super interested in, but the reason I'm showing this clip is because there is an elevator from your new player Tenno apartment that will take you directly into missions. So that's pretty cool, that the fact you can go directly into mission from your like hangout spot or whatever. And like this seems like it will have most of the features of an open world besides like the whole open world part of it. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's fishing in here or mining and stuff like that, or gardening as we just saw her looking at. I have a feeling that's gardening, guys. I really hope it's not, but I have a feeling. So yeah, I actually like this idea a lot because it makes it, we get the best of both worlds. People that like the open worlds that have all this stuff in it that, it'll keep you busy for a couple weeks or like a month or whatever. But afterwards, it's like, I'm not going to go out there and like explore random caves on Fortuna. We're getting a tile set instead, but with the city aspect. So I think there will be a lot of stuff to do. And I think that we'll have a new tile set, which I personally view as more, you can get more content out of a tile set than an open world singular level. Because as you can see in the gameplay right here, this void tile set right here, this has changed slightly, but it's been in the game for years and years, and people still like to play these missions. So yeah, good call there. I definitely do appreciate that, and I think we'll get more replay value out of this. Not to mention, I just like being able to go directly from my hangout spot, no loading screen, right into mission. No loading screens is huge for me, so let's see if they can pull that off. All right, moving on to number 2, the second most important, and of course this is interchangeable. Some people might not even like number 1, but we'll go over it anyway. So number 2 is new game modes, and we're actually going to cheat and include Eximus Rework in here as well. So there are going to be 3 new game modes with this update, the Angels of Zariman, and that also is another feature that is really good for a top tier update. One of my favorite updates of all time is the Jovian Concord. That's the update. We got the Disruption game mode. We got the Jupiter remaster, new tile set basically, and we got Wisp, of course. So this update is very similar to Jovian Concord in aspects of we're getting a new frame. There's actually a new quest too, bunch of new weapons, and we're technically getting, like I said, a pseudo open world. But instead of just one new game mode like Disruption, we're getting 3 new game modes. Now I'm actually worried that one of the game modes might not be viewed as very positive by a lot of people. As you can see in this one, this is Void Cascade, I believe it's called. This is going to involve operator combat, and that's already an instant no from some people. But once we go over number 1, DE is trying to actually push operator combat a lot harder. So this one, you're going to need a good operator, you're going to need a good amp and all that, and you're going to need good on-ground gear. So that's kind of cool to me. It's pulling all aspects of combat together, and also there's an Eximus rework entailed in here as well, which will affect normal missions. Eximus are going to be a lot more annoying. They're going to be, you'll actually notice when it's an Eximus. Unlike in the gameplay footage you see right here where it's just ogress everything. If it's an Eximus, I didn't even know. If it had an ice bubble, I knew. If it didn't have an ice bubble, there's no way I even noticed it. So yeah, Eximus will be pretty much, I think, immune to CC and stuff like that. Now, that might be a gigantic limbo nerf, but we might have a full video on that in the future. But yeah, CC is going to be less useful against enemies until you break their overshield, which will be a new aspect of these Eximus units. So yeah, I actually am interested in that. But like I said, there will most likely be one of the game modes that is not viewed as good as the other ones. So yeah, interesting stuff there. And the new game modes, from what we've seen, they seem okay. And they're all endless, which is of course good. So let's move on to the number one the reason this will be the best update ever. And of course, this is my subjective list, guys. So don't lose your head over me saying that the focus changes are the best part of the update. Now, the reason I view these focus changes as the number one best reason this update will be like remembered for forever and this the best update ever is because this focus stuff is ancient. It is ancient. I don't even know how many years it's been since we've gotten a focus actual like nodes change in the slightest. It's got to have been like 3 or 4 years at least. I want to say it was like right before Plains of Eidolon. So I think that was about 4 years ago, maybe even longer, that these focus nodes have not been changed. And like a lot of people in the Eidolon, like hunting, people who are, let's just be real, people who are set in their ways and afraid of change in the Eidolon community are really mad that they're changing Void Strike. Well, you know what, man? There's more to the game than just Madarai Void Strike in Eidolon fights. That might be all it is to you, but you should probably take a look in the mirror and then think about how selfish you're being when you say that these changes are bad. Okay? But yeah, bunch of this stuff. They're removing all like the terrible fluff stuff, like Void Mode reveals enemies through walls for 25 seconds. Things of that nature, and they're making it so every focus tree actually will feel like a class. So when you're playing Vazarin, you will feel like a healer. Now, I actually think Vazarin, from the changes they've shown us, is going to be one of the weakest schools, as they are nerfing the best node on there. But there's a lot more healing going to be involved. So if you have a Vazarin player on your team, they are going to be healing everyone constantly, providing invincibility and things of that nature. If you have someone on Madarai, which pretty much everyone will be running Madarai is my guess, they're going to be like the DPS damage dealer. They're going to have the new Void Strike is going to provide 1,000% increased damage, which is going to last for 8 seconds of a 40-second cooldown. So if you rotate it between your teammates, you're going to nearly have 1,000% damage on somebody at all times. And then there's just more. So it's going to be really, really good. And this stuff is so ancient and forgotten that I'm just so happy that they're making new aspects of it. And there is bad parts to it. That will be probably the cynical, like sarcastic video. Like Void Dash will be slower and all that, but we'll get into that when we get around to it. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. I'm actually super, super excited because the way I look at it is every aspect of this it's what I look for in a good update. New game mode, new frame. I'm not even talking about the new frame. New frame. The game will feel different. There's no way you can say it's objectively going to feel different after this, guys. Your operator's going to have new abilities. It's going to be more similar to the Drifter in the New War and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it a lot. I love when the game feels different. That's why it's hilarious that Eidolon hunters are like, oh, they're nerfing Void Strike, and why are you happy about that? First off, I'm not happy they're, air quotes, nerfing Void Strike. It's just you've been doing the same song and dance for so long that it's all you know, and you're getting mad that someone's trying to take away what's making you feel special. Don't worry, you'll still be, the Eidolons aren't disappearing. They're not removing the Eidolons from the game. You can still even shoot the Eidolon before it gets out of the water for the water limb. So quit crying, honestly. I was gonna make a full video on that, but I decided it's not even worth it. If you are an Eidolon crybaby, get over it. Trust me. You're still gonna be doing plenty of Eidolon fights, and if you don't like it, just quit, honestly. If you're that set in your ways and afraid of change, just quit. No one's gonna miss you. Alright guys, talk to you next time. Peace.